Welcome in yet another Frontend News podcast. Guys, it's great to see you again and it's great to serve you news from around the Frontend world. Last week we threw a little contest about what's Tomasz favorite conference, and I think we already collected your answers. I voted for Amsterdam. However, let's find out which one is your favorite, Tomasz.
Yes, Amsterdam looks really interesting for me. I will choose the JavaScript conference, which is like the biggest from all of them, and there is over 100 talks from different disciplines like UI, UX, frontend, backend, everything in one place around JavaScript ecosystem. Does it sound good? Because for me it's really interesting and hot. So I will be there, and hopefully you will be there too. So message me and let's meet. Why not?
Sounds amazing. I'm wondering because today we are such influencers of the frontend world, and I'm wondering where are our invitations. But okay, let's wait. Maybe still in progress. So, after this way too long intro, we're ready to kick off the agenda. So, Tomasz, what's in?
Okay, guys, for today, there are a bunch of news from the frontend, as always. As the first topic, I would like to preview the NPM 7 Cli release.
The next one is gonna be about Safari Technology Preview 120.
The third one is about upcoming Firefox 86 release.
We're also gonna talk about hot projects top list.
And at the end, I would like to introduce the minor update for the Node, and it will be version 12.20.2.
Too many points again.
Points everywhere.
Okay, so let's start with NPM CLI update, right?
Right. It wouldn't be a really game changer, another update for the CLI, but what we get is the workspace. NPM will receive a workspace. It will be similar like in Yarn package manager.
What is workspace, Tomasz?
Okay, so workspace, we can imagine it as tooling to be able to manage multiple packages within our project, inside our project. From like the top level package manager, top level project. We can use it, for example, when we are dealing with the micro frontends or monorepo or any other setup that requires us to create a lot of different apps, a lot of different environments, and be able to manage it from like one place. So this is like workspace is being used for.
Okay, have you used it yet?
Yes, I've used it with the Yarn previously, maybe not in commercial projects, but I use it on my own just to experiment. I love to learn new things, and it's pretty easy to use it, to define like, you know, the top level manager and split it down into the minor projects. It's easy, not a lot of configuration to be added to handle like for the basic usage, right? If we are doing something more advanced, obviously we need to dig deeper into it and check the documentation, but it's worth to see on your own. The link should be somewhere there. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Under the table.
Okay, you mentioned monorepo, right?
Yes.
So guys, if you are against monorepo, you can find our material about micro frontends, which is in the second playlist, which we call Expert Zone. Okay, the next one was Safari Preview. So what's in the Safari?
Yep. And nowadays most of the developers use Google Chrome, I believe, but still there is a lot of useful things around the Safari itself.
Is it?
Yes, but I will speak about it a little bit later. Let me now present the updates. So if you have the macOS with the Big Sur or macOS with the Catalina, you can use the new release of the Safari. And the updates will be around a lot of things, like starting from the web inspector, fixing the scrolling issues, CSS, JavaScript, media, WebRTC, web audio, accessibility, payment requests.
Wow, sounds like a lot of updates this time.
Yes, a lot of
Hopefully
things.
they won't break anything.
We will see. Okay, guys, so if you want to find more about the upcoming Safari Technology Preview 120, the link is, as always, in the description.
It is, hopefully. Okay. Do you really use Safari anymore?
Yes, I use Safari, for example, when I work with React Native projects, and when I run the iOS build in Simulator, I use Safari and Web Inspector to debug the application.
So you mostly use it for debugging? It's sad.
I use it only for debugging, to be honest.
Okay, Safari, we use it for debugging. Okay, that's great. But on the radar, there is also update for Firefox. So what's in the Firefox?
Yeah, new year, new Fox, a lot of fire, and it gives the Firefox. And the versioning is 86. So in the upcoming release, the Firefox team has focused mostly around the Web Extensions API.
Let's stop there.
Okay.
Web extensions sounds good. But could you also explain what the web extensions are?
Yep. So Web Extensions API, this is the cross-browser API that gives the developers the possibility to write their own extensions and include in the browser. You can cover whatever functionalities you want to and you need to in your daily work on just daily usage for the browser. If we know what is the Web Extensions API, let's talk a little bit about what they did improve. So mostly it's about the permissions. If the extension does have host permissions for the particular tab, it's no longer required to get some extra permissions for that extension to get, for example, page title or redirectory or anything like favicon, any kind of metadata. So it's easier to obtain all the informations about the tab inside the extension. And yeah, this is the biggest update for the upcoming release.
Okay, that sounds good, Tomasz. Is there anything else they provide with the latest update, or it was mostly about the web extensions?
Obviously, there are some minor bugs fixes, but if you're interested I highly recommend to check what's inside in the release notes on their website.
URL, as always, in the descriptions. Okay, I think we covered browsers update this time, so the next one was about hot projects tops list. So let's speak about this.
Okay guys, I will use best of JS webpage just to tell you what I want about the hot projects top list. So according to the last week, the hottest projects on the GitHub from the frontend world are Vita, Svelte, VS Code, AS Build, and React. As we know what React is, and it's still on the top, Visual Studio Code is one of the most famous IDE for the developers. But what is worth to mention is this Vita, and this is the next generation front-end tooling to handle the build process and to manage our application. So
wow,
it's similar.
Do we need another Webpack kind of tool?
Yeah, good question. I believe the Webpack does not cover everything, and there are obviously differences between the Vita and the Webpack, not only in the implementation but also in the build process and how it looks like, how we use it. I do not use Vita in real life yet. I mean in commercial projects, but yes, I did check this and play a little bit, and I want to play more. Because it looks promising for me and it's really easy to initialize and use within our project.
I see that Svelte is second on the list. Do you think it's very good replacement for React or not yet?
No, React is still more about building components and compose them. Svelte is more like the whole framework, how to deal with web applications, and helps with building it in efficient way, take care of the performance. I did not use it in commercial yet, but I did use on my own. Looks good, but still I prefer working with the tooling we use daily. So React, Webpack, guys, this is what I like.
Thanks so much for this short screen recording. I think we'll all love it. So the last one, and as usual, there is Node.js update.
Yes, this is our main guest in almost each episode, but it's good. Node.js team upgrade their tool really often, and now we can expect the newest release for the Node, and its version is 12.20.2. Wow. Impressive. And what's inside? There is a couple of bug fixes, which is like fix leaks in async local storage exit. They also upgrade the npm to the newest version. They fix also looping over prototyping agents, or they check write is not scheduled in scope destructor. That things has been fixed for now, and that's it. This update is not a game changer, but it's worth to know and track everything, because maybe this fix will help with your app. So be up to date and check the Node.js daily.
As usual, release notes in the descriptions.
Okay guys, that's it from the news, and I give the voice to Chris.
Okay guys, so the only thing I can do is like invite you to Curated project and tips and tricks sessions. So stay tuned. Guys, welcome to another show. Last week I presented you a website with, cool low poly 3D model. But today, I know it looks like advertisement, but trust me, it's not. I'm thrilled to show you this experience, the website which helps developers to learn WebGL on top of the free.js library. The host and the author of this course, Bruno Simon, is a French creative developer specialized in WebGL. He has worked on many projects rewarded by FWA or awards. Let's go to the landing page. It's quite common, famous pattern with logo on the left corner, some short text to explain it, 2 random buttons, price, and buy CTA. Quite straightforward. But the real magic kicks off when we click on the right side to explore this tiny room with 01 number. Guys, we are inside of visualization of this course and levels. Bruno, you bastard, I love it. I totally love it. Every scroll to upper floor shows us a short insight of what we are going to learn on this part and this particular chapter. After exploring this amazing section, we can scroll down, read, and even watch something from the author. Then we have next great readable and clearly explained section with all topics we could actually access. We can see here very nice animations with appearing 3D models. They are just PNGs, but hey, they still do the trick. I like the section below where we can, read something from the author. Simple idea where he combined his photo with floating 3D elements. And finally, we have a short view of his latest projects. My advice for you guys is to check everything in this section. Every of his projects can open your eyes wider to free.js possibilities. And the rest of this website, it just looks similar to other pages where you can buy a course, right? Nothing special. By the looking at this website, I really want to make stuff like he. It bought me. I'm completely hyped by this website. Just check it yourself and share your opinions. Cheers guys!
Hi guys, I'm really excited that I can show you another portion of tips and tricks. Today we will use the Framer Motion library to create the simple slider component with animation. If you didn't use the Framer Motion, it's worth to check their website where you can see the examples, play with it, and see some code snippets. Of course, it's worth to check the documentation too, to learn more. Let's focus on today's task. I have prepared the basic structure for the slider, but without animation. So let's add some smooth touch over the slider. I have already created the motion image wrapper, which is a motion image component being packed in the styled component with some basic styling just to make it look alright. And what we will do is focus on the slider component. What is worth to mention is that I have already used the animate presence component, which add an animation when the component is being unmounted. By default, React does not support events like that, so animate presence will add it for us. There are a few ways how to deal with the animations, and we will use the way with the variants. So we can use variants to define the animation on the particular state, and we can call this state however we want. Let's call it enter, center, and exit. So center, it will be our default state. Enter, it will be the animation that will occur on enter, and exit, yep, you're right, it will be the animation on the exit. So it could be a simple object or a function that returns the object. So our default state for the animation should be like, we want to have the center image, no opacity, and it should be on the top. On enter, we want to use function. Why? Because we need to handle something that's called direction. You're right. We need to slide the photo to the left or to the right, depending on which button we will click. So our direction will have two values, -1 or 1, depending on in which direction we want to slide. So if our direction on enter will be greater than 0, let's move our image to right by 300 pixels, if not 300 to the left. And we are starting from the opacity null. The same thing for on exit animation. So if our direction is lower than 0, let's swipe 300 pixels to the right, or if not, 300 to the left, and we want to hide the opacity. Cool. We have defined our variants, so let's add them into our motion image. Will it change something? Not yet. Let's work on it a little bit. Another attribute for the motion image component is the key attribute. It's important because thanks to the key attribute, Animate Presence could recognize the animated element and add necessary functionalities. The key should be different for each image. So what we can do is actually use the image source, image path, because it will be unique, okay? So no worries. How to use variants? Well, the motion components have attributes where we can define the names of the variants that should occur on specific event. From the event standpoint, we have the initial animation, animate. So this is our target to which we will be animating, and on exit. And we are just passing the names of the variants. So this is exit, center, and enter. Cool. Looks pretty simple, but we didn't pass the direction into the variant. As we can see, here is the function, and we didn't correlate those two guys. To pass the custom data, we can use the field that is called custom and pass the direction. Great, it's almost there. What we want to do is also to define how the transition should look like when we will be modifying the transform translate X attribute. So our transition on the X, let's use spring animation and just add some, customization on it. If you're interested in what all of those attributes mean, just check the documentation. Okay, the opacity should last for 0.2. I think that should be it, actually. Let's check it out. Yes, it works. Nice. It works. Okay, I would add some adjustments, but for the very first MVP, it works really nice and it's better than, the basic state without an animation. So as you can see, the 77 lines of code are enough to cover the slider functionality, at least the basic one. So this is everything what I have prepared. The powers of the Framer Motion library is much bigger, and I highly recommend to check it on your own. Thank you for your attention and see you on the next chapters. Bye!
Okay, that's it for today's episode. It was quite a bunch good news, quite nice project, and tips and tricks sessions.
And show some love by clicking like button or leaving a comment.
I think you like it. We like it. Do you like it?
I like it much.
We love it. So see you next week.